Well, Demetrious, I know you took a little bit of vacation after your win, but it seems like you've been on a non-stop media tour since the victory. Has this been like the most media you've ever done after a win?
No, I did media after my last fight. Obviously, I went to Hawaii with the family, and we already had this plan to come out here to Japan even before the fight with doesnt. So I'm out here now and enjoying my time and get to spend time with the Japanese fans.
Cool. Talk about your relationship with the media. I know that you get tired of answering the same questions about popularity, pay-per-views, that sort of thing. But, I mean, are you comfortable talking and getting out and promoting, or is it something that you don't enjoy?
Yeah, I enjoyed the make sure cut then brand me. I'm good with the media, you know. I try to answer the questions as best of my ability and try to give the right political answer. Sometimes, you know, I get myself in trouble with the fans or whatever when I give my honest opinions. But, yeah, it's comes with the territory. It's easy.
It's funny you say the political answer, because I was going to ask you, myself, Kevin Ioli, I felt like we had a great conversation with you after the press conference, but I felt like at the press conference, it was like a different guy. And I think some people are seeing, like they say, we see glimpses of Demetrious, but we don't see the real Demetrious. Is that a concerted effort that you realize I got to be a little bit different in big public settings?
I like to think so, but at the same time, with the whole thing at the press conference, I got there late. You guys, everybody only gets a certain time to ask questions, and then Dana White cuts you guys off to where after the fight, we're able to sit there and talk about all types of stuff. And that's just the things that you get to miss. I did an interview in New York, and the guy goes, dude, everybody calls says you're boring. And I was like, dude, it's because me and you're sitting here having a conversation. I can't sit here and have a conversation with 15,000 people in the arena. I mean, they came there to watch me fight. So that's the way I like to look at it, but it's what it is.
No doubt. Took your little vacation here in Japan, having a good time. Are you training? Are you taking some time off? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I'm working out. I worked out it's the first thing I did when I got off the plane. I went straight to the gym, worked out. I'm going to get a workout in tonight. So I'm still training, and I already set my date where I want to fight, which is February 6th, Las Vegas, Super Bowl weekend.
Have you gotten any feedback on that from Zuffa, if they feel like that works for you?
No, nothing yet. Obviously, when I see Sean Chubb, I'll see what he thinks. Like I said, I never like to pick my opponents. I like to pick the date that I want to fight in, and then when I see that date, then I start to build my training around that, regardless of wherever I'm fighting. I make sure, even when I fought September 5th, I had that plan in the back of my mind. International Fight Week, I was running 4 miles, still working out, not drinking alcohol, and it all pays off in the long run.
Obviously, the inevitable question with you saying the Super Bowl card is Henry Cejudo saying he won't fight in Las Vegas.
It's not my problem.
What do you think happens? I mean, if he gets that fight offer and won't fight, and he says, well, I'll do it, but 2 weeks later somewhere else, how do you handle that?
Just go with it. At the same time, like I said, that's the date I am foreseeing. That's the day I want to fight, and that's where I leave it at. I'll tell Sean Shelby, at the end of the day, you can say everything you want, but when the UFC gives you a fight, you take it. I've never turned on a fight from the UFC. When I want to fight in Australia, no, but I flew over to Australia just to do media and then flew back home, then flew back again 4 weeks later. So you do what you're told. I mean, if he doesn't want to fight in Las Vegas, I'm sure we can find a different person who absolutely take that fight. I mean, everybody's expendable in this sport, and they'll find somebody else who wants to fight for a title. If he doesn't want it, that's totally fine with me.
Do you feel like he's the most deserving contender right now, though?
That's not for me to say. I don't care who's deserving or whatever. Like I said, Demetrious Johnson is going to be ready February 6th. Doesn't matter who it is.
A lot of people keep asking that question, moving up to 135, but I know you want to break that record. Is that what you want? Do you want to break the record first and then maybe consider it?
Yeah, absolutely. My sight's set on breaking that record first. Obviously people want me to go off and do the super fight against whoever the champion is. I know TJ Dillashaw, and that's the thing. TJ Dillashaw has a lot of great contenders coming up. You got Thomas Almeida, he's undefeated. Dominic Cruz, they're about to fight. Arlen Sterling, he's undefeated. You also got Cody Lone Love, even though they're from the same team. So there's work for TJ Dillashaw to do in the division, and there's still work left for me to do in the division, but my goal is set on breaking that record. If they come with a better financial number that makes me want to go off and do that super fight, then I'll do it, because if I go off and do the super fight, it doesn't contribute to my record count.
Well, and I was going to ask you, do you feel like you have to move out to prove your greatness? I wonder, because guys, you guys get yourself in the perfect fighting shape, and you find the weight class that works for you, and then it's like people say, well, in order to prove your greatness, you got to do it in another division. I just don't understand that logic sometimes.
Yeah, I guess people don't understand. Like when I came down, when I was fighting when I fought Dominic Cruz for 135-pound belt, I was coming on weighing 138, from training. So I'm a small guy. 125, it's not hard for you. It is hard for me to make the weight, but I don't need IV. I hydrate very well. I have endless cardio, so it's my natural weight class. With that being said, a lot of people say, oh, you need to go up to do this and prove this, but at the end of the day, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. All I need to do is, keep doing what I'm doing, make sure my coaches are happy, make sure I take care of my wife and kids, and I know where I sit, in my mind, how good I am, and I don't need my ego to be filled or anything. I don't have ego.
So if the numbers aren't right, you could see yourself just fighting at 125 and hold it, hopefully, the rest of your career.
Yeah, absolutely. How badass would that be if a guy who's the first and ever UFC flyweight champion, and then, I'm 35 years old and I still have the belt, and I was like, yeah, you know what, babe, I'm done. I ain't going to the gym today. I'm just going to maybe a couple of alcohol or something. I think that's pretty awesome, So that's where my sight is. But like I said, if the number is right for the super fight, I will love to take part in that. But right now, it's more important to me to write my name in a history book. People don't get their name right in a history book. They're like, oh, he had a super fight. That's it. Anybody can have a super fight. I mean, you look at Anthony Johnson. Technically, he wasn't a champion, but he was a smaller guy with 170, knocking out 205 pounders. So, I mean, technically, when you look at, for the technical point of it, he kind of is doing super fights.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole Cejudo thing obviously stemmed from the Nick Diaz situation. I saw you post an Instagram thing about the petition. What did you just make of all that? Because, you're fighting in Nevada pretty consistently. It seems like they kind of fumbled the whole process. So does that concern you at all, knowing that, you've said, you're clean and everything, but even if you're not clean, it seems like they can screw things up over there.
Yeah, and on the record, let me take a couple of steps back. One, I stick by my word. I don't care for his antics, and I'm not a big fan of marijuana use, even though he has a medical card. On the way here, I got filled in the whole entire situation. It's f***ed up. But at the same time, I'm a type of guy to where, I've been tested, I think it was 5 or 6 times when I fought Chris Carriazo, and I didn't have to worry about my drug test being negative, knowing the fact that some of Nick Diaz's tests were negative, and they had one positive, and they even had, there was a lot of stuff that I found out about it. It sucks, don't get me wrong, and yeah, I did my part. I signed a petition, did everything, but that's not going to stop me from fighting in Las Vegas, because I enjoy fighting there, and I don't want, and fans, they might hate me, they've been bashing me and stuff, but this is my personal opinion. I don't mind fighting there. If I had a problem with the drug use and all that stuff, then maybe I wouldn't think about it, but I never had a problem. I've been tested 6 times, USADA test me, and so I don't worry about it. And then, let's say one of my tests come up negative, I would do my best to clear my name or whatever I need to do. But just doing that, when I said I think it's foolish for fighters to say, well, I'm not going to fight in Nevada, I find it foolish. You might have your beliefs with Henry Cejudo or Leslie Smith and everybody else. That's your bus. But my gig, I have a great gig in Las Vegas. I'm undefeated there. I enjoy the city. I enjoy the big fights. I love the promotion. I love going to the MGM, seeing my face plastered all over everywhere. I love that. And why would I want to take that? Why do I want to take myself away from what I love? That's my standpoint. And a lot of people might say, oh, you're not sticking up for your fellow fighters, but this is the first time fighters that actually try to rally up to save somebody. Like I said, I did my part. I signed a petition. I showed the whole world I did. Doesn't mean I'm going to take myself out of the game in Las Vegas. That's my piece, and people can throw tomatoes at me and cabbage all they fucking want, but that's my honest opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to it if you like me or not.